Best Ball Mania 3 is here. It's crazy to say that officially 2022 best ball draft season is here, but that's where we are. $10 million. $10 million. 3 different millionaires being crowned on Underdog this year in just that one tournament. I'm super excited. I got Silas here with me every Monday night moving forward to draft some teams. So we're just going to go ahead right away, day one, dive into Best Ball Mania 3. We're going to talk a little bit before about some of the chaos we're seeing in these drafts today, a little bit of DeAndre Hopkins fallout, and everything that we need to cover, and then we'll hop into a draft. So let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go. Day one, 2022 season. It feels so weird. Dude, this I don't even really know what to say. This feels so weird. Like today was just absolute anarchy. I'm so excited to have you on and start drafting teams already. Like this is crazy. We talked a little bit before the show. Both of us have drafted 3 teams. I'm actually finishing up my 3rd draft literally right now and already had an auto draft. So that tells you about how well it's going to go for me tonight. But you said you've done 3 drafts, and how's day one going for you, Silas?
Day one's good. Definitely super excited and amped for 2022 best ball season. Obviously, with us being degenerates, it obviously started back in January, but excited for everything that we've kind of been anticipating. So BBM 3, everybody's been talking about it for the last 6 months or so. It's obviously here. 3 millionaires going to be great. Hoping that I'm one of those 3 people.
Right.
So I can pay off some student loans.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, yeah, just it's been a good day. Like I told you, I did 3 drafts earlier. 2 of them unfortunately had DeAndre Hopkins, which really made me pissed off that I wasted 2 of my 150 bullets.
It's not over. The crazy thing about these drafts right now, and like I said, I'm finishing this one up, and if there's 7 more picks until I go in the 18th round pick, and you'll laugh at who is literally still on the board. It's like this is just I might share this team before we get to the end of this show, because these drafts are so crazy that yes, of course you don't want to have drafted DeAndre Hopkins. That hurts. That stings, right? But let's say you drafted Christian Watson on that team, right? In the 18th round or 17th round or whatever, wherever he goes.
Yep.
The other thing about these drafts is like, who the fuck knows where these guys are going to go?
Yeah. And I mean, everything's preset. So
yeah,
everyone's just kind of taking a stab, right? So it doesn't matter where you draft somebody. Somebody's getting somewhere else. Crazy values.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. If you're watching this and you haven't drafted yet, like the ADPs are not set for so they're like preset. I don't even know how they did it, honestly, but so like a lot of the rookies and basically the rookies, some of them don't have ADPs, some do. It's very bizarre how that lined up. Yeah. But like I said, Christian Watson was just a random guy that came to my head. So he does not have an ADP. Sometimes he will fall till maybe the last round. Sometimes you're in a smart draft where everybody's drafting maybe off rankings, and like he goes in like the 13th round.
Yep.
Like the variance is very different. And so if you just so happen to get into a draft, even when you have DeAndre, right? We were 4 hours into this tournament and you think you got buried by your 3rd round pick. And like, that's not even really the case.
No, I know.
How crazy these drafts are. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about that. We will talk a little bit of DeAndre Hopkins. Quick housekeeping notes. I have rankings up on the site. They are free for right now, specifically for Underdog. I was literally about to post the top 250 overall, like just a straight overall top 250, because I only have the positional tiered rankings up right now.
Yeah.
And then the DeAndre Hopkins news came about. So I haven't had a chance to go back and get everything else done. So if you've been looking for that, that will be coming very, very shortly. But what was your kind of first thought when you heard the Hopkins news today? Like, obviously fantasy draft reaction.
Yeah. So other than the fact that I had 2 of 3 shares of him being like,
yeah, other than I just pissed away $50. Yeah,
exactly. Which I mean, granted, he's just going to be like he's on the PUP, so it's really not that big of a deal. I wasn't truly in on D-Hop to start the year. I think he's going a little bit high. So I mean, yeah, it kind of gives a little bit of a kick to Hollywood Brown, as everyone's saying. I don't think he's going to be this great pick, right? Like, I've been drafting Hollywood all the time. I think he's been a value, but he's probably going to get into the territory where I'm not going to have anymore. Like, I probably already got my shares of Hollywood Brown just because people are going to steam him up crazily. Like, they just traded for him. He's obviously talented. He's going to be getting the ball from his college quarterback, which is fantastic. But yeah, just he's going to get way too steamed. I'm really concerned for the horizontal raid to see, how they're actually going to stretch the field. Otherwise, I mean, people are bringing up AJ Green just because they re-signed him. I think actually best case scenario, it actually helps Antoine Wesley because we saw him start to break out in the second half of the year. So he could really help some teams early on. Granted, I don't think he's going to be anything afterwards, but that was kind of my initial take.
The funny thing about Nuke was the first thing that came to my mind was obviously fuck you, Schefter, for making me redo all this work. But second was like, I mean, he's probably gonna miss several games anyway. Like, it sucks. Like, that now that he has no outs to playing every game, obviously. But like, I mean, what's the probability that he was gonna play every game anyway? Pretty low. Now, at least he has outs to being healthy later in the year when it really matters. Like, again, obviously you wouldn't take him in the third round or whatever before if you had known this, but I don't know. I was the same way as you, like in a vacuum, in a silo on DeAndre Hopkins. At his cost, it was like, whatever. Like, he's old. It's not really my archetype of a guy, but I was like, I'm in on this offense.
Yep.
They got Hollywood now. Connor is back. Ertz is back. They drafted Trey McBride, who I like. Rondale is there, right? I mean, in theory, is wheels up on this offense. And so, if he's the guy that's going to get the most targets on this offense, that I like, I can't say I love the Cardinals offense. I love Kyler Murray, and then say, oh yeah, the wide receiver one on that offense, fuck him. I don't want to draft him. That doesn't make any sense, right? It's kind of like my Bills thing. It's like, I love every Bills player. Gabriel Davis is one of my guys this year. I really like James Cook, et cetera, et cetera. I can't say like, oh, don't draft Stephon Diggs in the second round. It's like, no, like he's the wide receiver one. You know what I mean? So that's how it was for me with Hopkins. Was that kind of how you were thinking about it too? And then how are you like, so now, right, in a day or two, his ADP is going to reset. Right. Not appropriately enough yet, but in a week, he's going to be going in what? Seventh round, maybe something like that. Where would you draft him, basically?
So my thought originally when I heard the suspension is he's going to go to where MT was going last year. So like that 90-ish.
Yeah.
Right around 90s, which I think is fair value. Because obviously we know how good of a connection and chemistry that they have together, him and Kyler, obviously. So, you're kind of taking and hoping for that second half breakout, which as he's getting closer to age 30, he's probably not going to break down, obviously, knock on wood. Like, with how I'm particularly drafting, like, I'll probably draft a good amount of Nuke now just because I'll take those shots. Like, I know I'll be fine for the first 6 weeks by, taking 3-4 wide receivers early, and start grabbing some running backs. But
true.
Just based on my specific structure and how I like to draft, like I'll probably be back in on Nuke.
That's a good. I love that take, because what I saw last year was people would do it in the opposite structure. They would. I take my 3 early running backs. Right. We're gonna go robust running back, and then it's like, well, I know I'm taking such a volume of wide receivers that I can throw that pick away on Michael Thomas in the 8th round or whatever. When in reality, it's actually the opposite, where I think you need the reason why that early running back build works is because you need the volume. You can't throw away that wide receiver pick, right? And Absolutely. So when you have 3 superstars, right? You drafted Jamar Chase and AJ Brown and CeeDee Lamb or whatever. Yep. Like you can, in theory, throw away that, I'm not saying throw away any pick, but exactly. you have more.
You're trying to maximize, those upside and spike week potentials. So you're trying to correlate them together.
You have more outs to that working, right? Yeah. Like I bought myself 6 weeks by these 3 or 4 other studs. Maybe they just get me there, right? Yeah. Like they just get me there. And I still have 6 other guys. So anyway, that was actually a big thing I saw a lot last year, that I'm glad you brought that up around the Nuke thing, because that was a lot of what people would say. Like, well, I'm going to take my running backs. I could use Michael Thomas in this structure. And it's like, yeah, but if you take Michael Thomas as your wide receiver 2 on this team, like you're dead. Like it's over. It doesn't matter how good, how many wide receivers you have or how good your running backs are. You're dead and buried. You know what I mean? Like you're the rest of your wide receiver group. So I think that's important around that thing. What about the other? So you talked about Hollywood. What about the other Arizona pieces? We don't have to talk about James Conner too much, but what about Rondale is obviously going to be a hot button issue. And I think Zach Ertz. So where Nuke wins, right, is kind of the Rondale and Zach Ertz range. What do you think about those guys?
Yeah, so even before the Nuke range, I'm kind of off Rondale just by the way they use him. Like, I think they use him as more of a gadget player. So I don't really think that's going to change. And it didn't change last year. So once Nuke got hurt, we really didn't see his role develop into what we expected. So he's going to stay as that screen type back or wide receiver. And I don't want that. So he's not going to be who I'm targeting, especially when he probably creeps up into that 80-ish range with like Kadarius Toney, where I'd rather have the more explosive player. Ertz, on the other hand, I was thinking about it. His target share is definitely going up. He's going to be probably his or Kyler's favorite target. So I'll actually be in on Ertz. And I was actually thinking through that with one of the drafts I did after the Nuke happened, where I was like, I actually want to target Zach Ertz. I think he's probably going to be, he could be that Dalton Schultz type, probably not to that extent, but he could get up close to that 20% target share where, especially in the red zone, he's catching touchdowns. Because other than AJ Green, they don't really have any big wide receivers.
Yeah, and AJ Green is like 47 years old. I mean, Zach Ertz is old too, I guess, but it's a little bit different when literally Zach Ertz's game is like catch the ball and fall down, and that's
5 yards fall.
But like that, like people will say, like, yeah, but he's old, but like that was what he did when he was 21. Catch the ball and fall down, right? He has Zach Ertz ever made anybody miss in the open field? Like, that's not his game, right? That's not what he does. So I was having that same dilemma, like I said, redoing some rankings and stuff after the nuke news. I've been like, Zach Ertz is a very difficult guy to evaluate. You know what I mean? He is very unsexy from the way that he plays football, but he also clearly has the ability to earn targets literally no matter the season, no matter Dallas Goedert's there, no matter he goes to Arizona and it's a new scheme. They don't really throw to tight ends. Guess what? They're going to throw it to Zach Ertz. I can't really figure him out very well. And then they draft Trey McBride. the best tight end in this draft, which throws another, kind of wrench into things. But then you lose. So I was like, kind of, I'm not, there's a lot of tight ends I like. We'll get into the, it's May 2nd. We'll get into all this stuff over the course of the summer. But there's a lot of tight ends I like. We were talking about this in the Discord earlier today, where everybody's kind of like throwing out their late round tight ends, and everybody threw a different name out. And every time somebody said one, we're like, yep, makes sense. That guy has upside. But so it was hard to wrap my head around Zach Ertz, and then Nuke goes out. And again, it's only 6 weeks. So I'm trying to keep that in my brain where I think I wanted to get, before we wrap up, I wanted to get your take on this. I think my take is the market is going to overreact to 6 weeks of DeAndre Hopkins being gone. When in reality, I would bet the probability was he was going to miss at least 3 or 4 games anyway. So like you were not you weren't evaluating these guys this way before, but now you know it for sure.
Yeah.
And like you said, Hollywood's going to be a 6th round pick. Ertz is going to be a 12th round pick. Rondale's going to, right. God knows. Right. Ship Chasing's going to draft Rondale in the 8th round.
Yeah.
Like all these guys are going to go way too high. And so that was my kind of general take. And maybe Nuke doesn't go in that Michael Thomas range. He's not as well regarded as Michael Thomas was. Michael Thomas, was like the wide receiver 1.
That's true.
And so I wonder if he doesn't become like a 10th round pick where we do want to take him and all these other guys are like fades in a vacuum.
Yeah. The only reason I kind of disagree with that is MT was the wide receiver 1 a year and a half ago, right? Before he had played. So he was still, 2 years removed from being the wide receiver 1. DeAndre Hopkins is in that same boat, right?
Yeah,
2 years ago, he was absolutely phenomenal. So
awesome. Yeah.
I think it's more name value. And as people are drafting, they're going to see his name and be like, oh, I want DeAndre Hopkins, without thinking of the fact, like, he's not going to hold up throughout the season. Another wrinkle that I'm trying to think through is, why was he actually using these PEDs? Was it why he was actually starting to slow down because he knows he's lost a step? Or is it because he was rehabbing his injury? Because he was he didn't look right to start the year. Then he got hurt. And it was like, oh, he was hurt. He was playing through it.
He was not earning the same level. He was not. I know that they had guys, right? But he was not earning the same level of targets last year to start the year. That was part of what we were, you come into the DFS brain, right? He's a $8,500 wide receiver, but he was earning like 19% of the targets. He was earning like $5,500 wide receiver, level targets. So I like that take. That's pretty interesting. So then now we're going to talk about fucking DeAndre Hopkins this whole show, but now I'm because I like that. I like that idea. But so then where would you take him off a 6-game suspension with all these variables?
So the same place. I mean, I was drafting MT last year, so I'll take him in that 95-ish range.
And he's not hurt. MT was injured.
Or MT was hurt. We were expecting him to rehab and be fine. Whereas we know he's going to be healthy once these 6 weeks are done.
Yeah.
It's just, can we get him back to the level he was 2 years ago? And like I said, based on my structure, I will gladly be taking him at pick, 95, 99, 100. I'll mix him in. I probably won't go overweight, right? So I'm not going to kill myself and draft him in every draft. But, depending on the grouping of players that I have, he'll definitely be there.
No, I mean, get your 10% or whatever. Of DeAndre Hopkins. And like, dude, you got 10% of 9th round DeAndre Hopkins. Like, so how many teams, this is going to embarrass me with math, but like how many teams of 150, obviously I know the 15 teams is 10%, but that came out very, very poorly. Like I said, I literally said this is going to make me look bad in that. And then I worded that sentence very poorly. But how many of those teams do you need to get through to where you're like, boom, this was a raging success, right? I got 15 9th or 10th round DeAndre Hopkins teams, and like, bam, I got 3 of them through to the playoffs.
I mean,
that's a fucking Yahtzee.
Yeah.
Like,
just thinking of like average advance rates, 3 of them should naturally advance. So then you have the chance he's healthy in the playoffs. Him and Kyler connect for 2-3 touchdowns because that's what he can do. So, yeah.
And I love that offense. So I kind of think it's interesting with like a general, this is not quite apples to apples, but like people talk about handcuffing, right, as a running back concept. But like if you do take a steamed Hollywood Brown, you piggyback him with Nuke on a Kyler team. It's like, dude, if Hollywood goes nuts for 6 weeks, I'm not saying he will. Who fucking knows? But like he goes nuts for 6 weeks, and so you're good, right? Your advance rate has no issue because your 6th round wide receiver just went Deebo Samuel on everybody, and now you have a 9th or 10th round wide receiver that like you didn't need in the first place, and so now you have DeAndre freaking Hopkins, and he's correlated with those guys, and that's going to be fairly unique. So I like him. I'm still wrapping my head around it. Like I said, I haven't posted an update to rankings or anything because I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. Because the Cardinals are crazy, man. Like it's a bizarre situation. Because they got so many dudes, and everybody wins the same goddamn way on the on the Cardinals, except for Hollywood. So I know how Hollywood is going to win, and then there's Nuke, Ertz, Rondale, James Conner, Trey McBride, AJ Green. They're all going to do the same shit. So it's kind of a mess. So let's hit a couple. This was funny. Michael Thomas was hurt. No arguments from me. This is also true. Better than Andy. Also, I'm anything you read on my Twitter about Andy Isabella is not true, except for if I say that whatever it was 4 years ago on draft.com that I was absolutely in on Andy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When they took him in the 2nd round, right? He was a 2nd round pick for the Cardinals.
Yes. Out of UMass.
Yes. Out of UMass. Yeah. Ran a 4.2. Can't catch a cold, but very fast. So I was very in on Andy Isabella. Rob also says 4 minutes into BBM, and I already have to deal with Antoine Wesley picks. That is true. Before we hop into a draft now, we're going to pivot away from the Cardinals.
Yes.
You've done 3 drafts. Let's talk about takeaways from because we're going to do drafts every Monday, but for the next few days, for anybody watching this for the next few days, what do you think are the things that people can kind of take away into their drafts for these next few days?
So 1, there's absolutely no rhyme or reason to what the hell's going on. You can't really predict who's going to be available at your next pick because everybody's just kind of going off a whim. So right now it's kind of take your stance, figure out who you want, prioritize them, and don't worry about ADP. Especially the next 2 days, ADP is going to mean absolutely nothing. So figure out who you want, figure out how you're going to take them, and don't be afraid to pick them 50, 60 at all. Other than that, just make sure that you're try to correlate as best you can. Obviously, we don't know what the skill is, so either take from the same team. What I've been trying to do is try and get some people in division because typically division games are later in the year. So try to plan a little bit for the playoffs. But other than that, it's kind of just get a primary, secondary stack and, don't try and overdo it.
Yeah, I think I really pretty much just second everything that Silas said. I am going to bring up my screen here, same as Silas. I have drafted 3 teams. I'm trying to pace myself. Somebody was messaging me like, "Hey, are you scooping?" So I'm a noted Alec Pierce truther. Okay, that's one of my guys.
Yep.
I'm not saying you have to like him. He's freely available in the last round of these drafts because similar to, as we'll get into, the rookies, he has no ADP and nobody. Like he wasn't Sky Moore where everybody, nobody was hyping Alec Pierce, maybe besides me. He wasn't gonna instantly get steamed. He landed in an awesome spot,
Absolutely.
Right? And so somebody messaged me like, "Hey, are you just scooping up all this Alec Pierce?" I'm like, I'm not trying to draft like 30 teams on these like I would like I know that like we all like want to get in and get our EV in good and stuff, but like we got 4 months. I am trying to like enjoy my next 4 months, and so I'm not going super crazy, but I wanted to pull up a couple teams because I think visually it will show better, just like you said, how wildly different it is. So I think this is the team I just drafted. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, it should be the top.
Yeah. So I just drafted this team. This is the craziest team and the best team that I've drafted so far. So first of all, I drafted out of the 103. If you're not familiar, Jonathan Taylor is the by far consensus 101, particularly in half-point PPR formats. Devontae Adams went 101 in this draft, and Justin Jefferson went 102. So I got Jonathan Taylor. I am also a noted wide receiver bro. And this draft fell in such a way that I probably got – I don't need to share it, but I have my rankings up here. Jonathan Taylor is my 101 overall, and obviously then my running back 1. And Javonte Williams is my running back 4 overall. I have him very clearly as a first-round pick. He's readily available at the end of the second round, early third round. So I'm going to have a lot of Javonte, obviously, until that corrects. But then CeeDee Lamb, kind of similar situation. I'm very high CeeDee Lamb now. He is my wide receiver 6. Yep. There's no Amari Cooper. They didn't do anything other than draft Jalen Tolbert and sign James Washington for less money than the people are going to make in Best Ball Mania 3. So like it's wheels up for CeeDee. So anyway, this happens, right? I get DJ Moore. We don't need to talk about DJ Moore too much. Kyler, we talked about that. I'm very in on Kyler. Mike Williams, who, funnily enough, in the 6th round, his ADP somewhat aligns with that. Tomorrow, if you get on, it will not align with that. He has been a guy that's been going in around the 4th round or so. Again, same thing. I have him way higher than a 6th round pick. It's actually not particularly. I think I have him like closer to a 2nd round pick than a 6th round pick. Gabriel Davis. I'm a big stand on him. Cortland Sutton, I think I have closer to Mike Williams than I have close as an 8th round pick. Miles Sanders, again, big fan of him. So you just see like all these guys. I did take Rondale. I actually agree with you on Rondale that I'm really not super into Rondale, particularly on Underdog, but I drafted Kyler, and the Hollywood thing didn't. Somebody like these drafts are. This is just a perfect thing about these drafts. I can't see really. It's not like I can search where Hollywood went, but like Hollywood went really early, and then I'm getting Mike Williams in the 6th round. It was like it's just so it's so chaotic, and I just wanted to scroll because. So Robert Toney and I have as like a top 10 tight end. James Cook is like a rookie that should never go in the 15th round. Same thing for Rashad White. Will Fuller. I'm doing that thing again.
We're all in.
This is my 18th round pick.
I've seen him go in the early hundreds today. So
yeah, and so the first draft I did today, which is what I was gonna pull up. Let me go there.
But Rob brings up a good point. I mean, just thinking about that draft, there were 4 quarterbacks drafted in the 2nd round. Like, either people aren't paying attention to the rules and they still think it's super flex, or like you just have no idea what people are gonna do. And
maybe a little bit of a combination of all these different crazy. Like we just don't. It's crazy right now. You would think, and the logic was that this would be the time where like a bunch of the smart people are getting in, right? But my experience in these drafts, that is not what it is. They are not sharp. You should never. I'm not even the world's biggest Sky Moore fan. Like relative to the other people in the industry, I like him fine. But like I'm not even the world's biggest fan. But him in the 18th round is criminal. There should never be a draft you enter where 11 other people and I just kept pushing it. Literally, I was like, should I take him? No, I'm like, let's just see. Let's bid equity. We're just gonna bid equity this.
See what happens. Yeah.
I can send it in a group chat and be like, you dumb fucks. Yeah, you keep taking him in the 10th round. Look at this. I got 18th round. Sky Moore.
Well, I mean, think about what Siege sent you. I mean, I got Tyreek Hill at the end of the second round.
Yeah, that was you.
His ADP is 9.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I don't even love Tyreek Hill this year. But get him at the end of the second round? What?
JT, Javonte, Tyreek was your start?
Cup, Tyreek, Javonte.
Cup. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. Like those starts none of these starts, the start I just showed, the start you just talked about, will never ever happen again after the first couple of days, right? Yeah. Tomorrow, basically, it won't happen again. So I think it's really important for us to bring this up for if you're drafting right now, to just think about that. Because I was just going to point out the variance in what that is. So you see my very first draft, I got the 104. It goes about how you think it would go. Like in a week, this draft was like, yep. I thought it was fine. Like I thought it was a bunch of smart people that like drafted efficiently. This draft was like, yep. I'm trying to see if I can find like Sky Moore and some of the, kind of sharper guys. So I got my guy Miles Sanders in the 8th. That was like one ETN in the 7th. I thought like those are like values, but like mid-round running back values, like who cares? It's fine, right? And so you just see the difference. Like I'm drafting Eno, Donta Foreman, and Byron Pringle in the last rounds of this, which I think are like, I like those guys actually. Yeah. As late round picks, but relative to the other draft, which was like James Cook, who I think is like a 9th round pick, and Sky Moore, similar, same thing. So the drafts are so all over the place that it's just important to read your room for these next few days and be like, absolutely. I have no idea how it's gonna go. None.
Yep. No, you need to kind of react to see, and this is definitely one of those days where you want to keep the draft board up. See what people are doing and kind of react off of that.
So before we hop in, the other thing we were going to touch on is just the slight differences in the format this year. First of all, obviously $10 million as a prize pool is a pretty big difference. The entry fee is still the same at $25. First place is $2 million. Second place is $1 million, which is just ridiculous. They're also giving away $1 million to the single highest regular season scoring team. So in weeks 1 through 14, if you have the highest amount of points, you will win $1 million. So they're kind of middling, which it's not even really a true middle. It's like there's one scratch off lottery. I guess they're all scratch off lottery tickets, but that one's like a supreme scratch off lottery ticket. A 1 in 450,000. Yeah, will win $1 million, second place. Like imagine being the fucking second place team. If I'm the second place team,
I'd be pissed.
I will break shit on that final week, and I will be hate messaging Josh Norris, Josh, if you're watching, or Hayden, or Rudman.
I'll be in Rudman's DMs.
I'm starting a group message if I finish second for that, because like I get $0 and this other motherfucker's a millionaire. That will be a problem. However, it is a cool wrinkle that they added. They're rewarding, the best regular season team with a life-changing, obviously, amount of money. You see the other payouts here. The other thing, do you have the advance?
See if it pulls it up. It should.
The other small difference is they have made it a little bit easier to advance to the final and made the final bigger. So last year, I don't remember what the final number was.
3 of 12 in the first. I believe it was top 3 advanced in BBM.
And then the second round was for sure bigger than 10. It was
either
18. 18. Okay.
And the last one was 24.
24. Yeah, 24. So like way like, and you had to be top 1. So the difficulty in advancing through the first 3 playoff rounds is way, obviously still 2 out of 12. If you do the math,
easier.
If you do the math, but 2 out of 12, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 16 is still very, very low probability math. However, compared to last year, it is much, much simpler and easier. However, the opposite is true for the final round. Last year was like, if you got to that final round, your team was probably live, just like by sheer numbers.
Yep.
470 people in that final round is great. Like, I'm really excited that they did this because I think it's good for the space for like way more people to experience that final round sweat. However, for us heading into our drafts, it's important to realize that like there's almost 500 people that are going to be in that final. So all the different kind of stuff we talk about is very correlation, right? If you can ever get to any point of uniqueness, if you can ever get to any of those little variables that we can consider for that final round, it's very important because that's a lot. That's a much, much, much bigger final round.
I mean, the way I'm trying to think about it is like it's bigger than some single entry DFS contests.
Way bigger. Way bigger.
Like it's huge. And
the luxury box, if you play the luxury box, which that means like that's like a anywhere from a $1,500 to a $4,000 tournament on DraftKings every Sunday. Very high stakes. 200 to 300 people.
Yeah.
So like that think about that. Like it's double the size of one of the highest stakes DFS tournaments every week.
And think about, I mean, yeah, it's easier to get through, but how much or like think about last year, like 50-something% of the field had Mark Andrews. Like it's going to be so hard to truly differentiate your team from everyone else. So you really need to think about like those minor correlation pieces to actually get yourself to advance and have an actual live chance at $1 million or $2 million in this case.
I love these comments. The advancement structure is my favorite change. I agree with everything Silas just said. And I agree with that. I think it is better for the industry. Like by far, this structure is awesome. Underdog could not have possibly. So I guess I would say they could have nailed it better. The 1 million to first and 0 to second for the regular season champ is kind of like triggering just for my brain. I don't know what's right or wrong, but it triggered me when I saw it. Like if I get second, I get 0. But I you know me, I'm going to draft so many rookies and backup running backs that I'm not going to have any goddamn chance of winning the regular season. Anyway, but then like Toney says, just stop drafting for the min cash. Like I agree. You get to the finals, like if you draft 150 teams strictly like shooting for your steal, whatever that means, which I don't even like think. I think that's like a kind of a bullshit narrative we've pulled in best ball, the like playing to advance versus playing for upside. But even if you think like, like you're having that debate, like think about the fact that you're probably just going to get about the same amount of teams through either way.
Yep.
And those teams that you get through, what kind of teams would you prefer to be in a 470 man single week DFS contest? That's really all that I would say. So I think that about covers it. Let's hop in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We went longer. We went longer than I wanted to, but I think it's week 1, man. I'm fired up. We're having fun. Oh Jesus.
Oh, Insta added. We're pick 9. Pick 9.
Pick 9. Ooh, okay. Somebody mentioned this in chat. It was a good in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, spikeweek.com in the header Discord. Like I say it every stream pretty much, and I'm obviously biased. It is the best resource by far in this space. If you're drafting even like remotely seriously, these contests, I learn today I posted it. I'm literally the one creating the rankings, creating the content, doing all this stuff for the site. And
sorry, Rob. I haven't drafted on this computer.
Eyes. Yeah. I wasn't gonna say anything. I was gonna let you roll. I was gonna let you roll with it, but
no, I honestly didn't even think about it. I love night mode. I have it on every single one of my apps. My phone, when I wake up in the morning, is on night mode. So I just didn't think about it. I apologize to all of our viewers.
Have you had it on regular mode like up until now? Forever?
So I typically don't use this laptop to draft. Okay. So I use my other laptop and then my phone, and both of them are set to dark mode. So
are you a phone drafter? This is important. Are you a phone or what percentage out of 150? How many?
Yeah, so like the daily drafts I typically do on my phone.
Yeah.
Since these are longer and I need to see more, I typically try to do BBM or just best ball drafts on my computer. But I mean, I'll probably draft on the go. So depending on where I am, especially since I'm going away next week, like I'll definitely be drafting on my phone. They'll probably be like, I'd say I'll probably do like 30 to 40% on my phone. I'll try to get most of them on the computer.
I like it. I'm biased. Yeah. Good comment from B. Can we zoom at all? Yeah, perfect.
Sorry, the monitor's huge, so it's huge for me.
That's good. Yeah. Okay, this is a really I like that we got the 109 because I think it's one of the tougher inflection points of the draft. How are you handling it? We're on your account, so I want to lean on you for this. I know you're a little bit more wide receiver guy. What do you think?
Hell? Why does it say 0 seconds? I'm just gonna do this just because I think it should be. I don't know what's happening. I don't think the time's right. I would actually say probably Davante Adams, but I wanted to say Diggs just because I got someone quick.
Do you have a? So we got hit refresh. Yeah, put Adams in the queue too, and hit maybe refresh. Oh, okay. So we got Adams. It looked like.
It does look like we got Adams. I'm most concerned about these talks of Dalvin Cook getting a suspension. I'm trying to get him to actually go to the second round. If he's in the second round, I'm fine with him. And yeah, I don't know why the clock's not working. It's kind of showing 6 seconds for everybody. I think that might be on Underdog's side, not on my side.
We're gonna find.
So we're just gonna have to click and hope and pray.
Cue some people. This would be absolutely freaking hilarious if the whole draft is 6 seconds. We should.
So it's not actually going over,
right?
It's
actually know that once it goes to 0 in front of us, we have to know that. Just be ready.
Be ready. So with Adams, probably one of my, it's probably top 5 wide receiver, probably 4 or 5. I still think he's going to get the volume, and I think
this is good customer service. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Mike is running the show at Underdog, and he's literally fixing it as we speak. That's good customer service.
So yeah, he's gonna get peppered with targets. I'm not too worried about Waller, and definitely not worried about Renfro. Like I think Carr is just going to kind of throw it up to Adams and just kind of let him do what he's going to do.
You just have to think if he recruited him over, he can't let it, he's been so used to 35% of the targets. He can't he can't keep sticking to Waller, right? I agree. I'm still pretty confident in Davante Adams. But I do like the other guys too. I mean, I like the Raiders. The Raiders are a pretty fun offense now, all of a sudden, which is not something I've said for many years. What do you think here, though? This is another thing that makes this pick difficult. Is the second round becomes tricky too.
Yeah, and I'm trying to stay away from Kamara, just as the same thing for Cook.
Yep.
That's who I would be on right now. I could be talked into CD or T Higgins, if you have a preference over either of them.
I'm not saying a goddamn negative word about Javonte Williams. You can fuck off for trying to get me to talk you out of. I'm not telling you to not take Javonte.
For those of you who are wondering, I do have ETR rankings in here just because ADP is an absolute mess and a nightmare right now. I love AJ Brown. Don't get me wrong. I think he's getting drafted too high. Just how are they going to spread the ball around? We know Hurts is going to run on the ground. Obviously, we're both in on Miles Sanders. I have been all off season. He's going to assume some more additional work, especially in the goal line. Perfect. I will do that.
Goats.
But yeah, he's going too high for me right now. There's definitely a downside case, and I think he's being drafted as absolute ceiling. I don't think he has overall wide receiver 1 upside anymore.
What do you think the difference is? Do you think it's the target competition or the Hurts thing, or what do you think is?
I think it's a number of things. So I am very big on Devonta Smith. I think he's a great route runner. I think him and Hurts have a great connection. Him add in Goddard over the middle, like then you add in Sanders, and he's obviously going to start scoring touchdowns. Like it's just going to happen. So
please, Miles. Please, Miles, my bank account needs you to get in the goddamn end zone, please.
Mike, quick thing is still not working because I still see it at 6 seconds.
We'll get it.
But yeah, there's just too many good pieces. I mean, that offense is going to score, but he's not going to have as high of a target share. Like, yeah, he might have 20 to 25%, which is great, but he's not in that higher upper echelon of like 25 to 35% where he's just going to get peppered. They're going to throw to whoever's open, right? They're going to have to make everybody happy.
That ceiling went away, right? The Davante Adams target share ceiling went away. The team ceiling maybe got elevated.
Yeah.
From just from an overall scoring and blah 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 perspective, but AJ Brown's another difficult. We might have this conversation a lot over the course of this entire draft, where so much has changed in the NFL. Yeah. Right. We talked about Hollywood is on Arizona now, which not only changes the Hollywood projection, it changes the Baltimore projection. You tell me who the wide receiver 2 is on Baltimore. I don't fucking know. Tylan Wallace, James Prochet, Devin Duvernay. I don't know. Will Fuller, Jarvis Landry,
Antonio Brown.
I don't know. Yeah, you tell me.
I actually thought they were going to sign Jarvis Landry. Like I think that's pretty much the for sure thing.
So. I think if I were a betting man, I think I would be willing to bet on the Jarvis Landry thing as well. Yeah. But would I be surprised if they said, "Dude, we just drafted 2 good tight ends. We have Mark Andrews, we have Rashad Bateman. We drafted Tylan Wallace and James Prochet and Devin Duvernay over the last couple of years, and we're going to run the fucking ball. What do we need Jarvis Landry for?" I'm not saying that that's what they're going to do, but would I be surprised? Absolutely not. And so I have no idea. I have no idea. I have Tylan Wallace and Prochet both at the back end of the ranks. Like if you have a Lamar team and you get to the 18th round and you need another wide receiver, I would take Tylan Wallace. I would absolutely take Tylan Wallace.
I debated doing that earlier today. Just because, I mean, he was a 4th round pick last year.
And
he didn't see the field.
Stud at Oklahoma State, but he
absolutely
he blew out his knee.
Ooh.
Okay, we're on the clock. Okay, oh fuck, Lenny. God damn it, I do like Lenny.
Lenny.
I like Lenny. I like Waddle. I agree with DJ Moore. This is the first time I'm seeing the ETR rank, so I apologize. Any of the top 3 are good with me. I'm
we're gonna. I don't think I'm gonna have a lot of him, so I'm just gonna put him in.
Ooh,
let's see what happens.
I like it.
Let's see what happens.
What do you think about some of this? Again, I'm 3 drafts in, so clearly not super predictive, but I've struggled with. I'll get to the quarterback ranges, and I don't have any stacks set up, and so I'm the kind of guy who doesn't want to like force it, right? Like, oh, I took Jamar Chase, I have to get Joe Burrow, or I took Devontae Adams, I have to get Derek Carr. I like to let it kind of fall to me.
Yep.
And Tua is such a difficult, unless you do Gesicki. He's so right. Hill and Waddle both go, but I want to have Dolphin stacks, and I think Tua is a reasonable quarterback pick. How do you think about some of that as you're starting your draft?
Yeah, so what I've been trying to do and what I'll do is I actually take the quarterback and throw them in the queue. And if it's around ADP, I'll try and take them. I don't reach for them. I absolutely don't reach for them. And then sometimes I try and play it risky. I'm like, he's right around ADP. I try to see who's around me if they need a quarterback. Try and get a better value on them. Right now, obviously, that means absolutely nothing. But so haven't really done that now or in this draft, but like in the big board and in Superflex, like I was definitely not afraid to push it. And I'm definitely not afraid to push it because I'm only hoping that I can get a better value on a stack that's absolutely needed.
And the difference
and
in
that's
these
coming from someone who had a lot of cup. So
yeah, the difference in these is you're not like getting value in the way we're going to get value in a month, but you're getting value. Okay, we can come back to this. Definitely on
Harry,
Judy, McLaren, Lamar. Yep, support all of these guys. Connor, I'm surprised they have Connor so low. I have Connor higher than this.
I think I'm actually going to take Connor, unless you have somebody that you'd prefer.
I like all of those guys. I think Connor is actually my highest ranked guy out of all of these. It's probably between Connor and Judy, but so I see all angles of the Connor thing. The first is that I'm also, if I were a betting man, we were talking about, like DeAndre Hopkins getting hurt. If I were betting on how many games James Conner misses, it's multiple. Like yeah.
You're betting on a 12-ish game season.
But that's why he's not like an early second round pick.
Yeah.
Because when he's in there, he's one of the 3, 4, 5 workhorses. Like Najee Harris goes in the top 6, 7 of these drafts strictly because he hasn't proven to be injury prone yet. But guess what? When he gets to be James Conner's age and he has the wear and tear that James Conner has, we're probably going to be treating him the exact same way, right, wrong, or indifferent. And so I know for a fact when James Conner is out there, he's a RB1.
If he doesn't suffer a season-ending injury, he's scoring 10+ touchdowns. Like
exactly,
it's a guarantee.
He's catching passes. He's scoring double-digit touchdowns. I don't really give a shit about anything else. The offense is awesome, and I know he's going to catch passes and he's going to score a shit ton of touchdowns.
And you could say that he actually was a winner from the draft. Like, they drafted Keontae Ingram. I don't even know who Keontae Ingram is.
Yeah,
I don't even know who he is.
Had to leave Texas because he got beat out by guys beneath him at the running back position, and went to USC and wasn't even the workhorse at USC, and they stunk.
So if he plays and doesn't suffer a season-ending injury, which obviously we're playing spike weeks, you're drafting like you're right. He's not going to miss the entire season in this scenario,
right?
Because we drafted him, obviously.
Yep.
He's going to score 10+ touchdowns. He's going to be a goal line freak. They're not going to sub him out. And you want parts of that offense. Like, why would you not take that shot?
We are going to get to week 1 and for DFS, and they're going to end up playing like the Seahawks. And we're going to laugh because he's going to be like a top 5 projecting running back. And he's going in the 4th round of best ball drafts as like the RB20. Like, it's egregious. And now, I get why he's not a top 5 running back, but I don't get why he goes where he goes.
Yep. I think he would have been the perfect 2-3 turn guy from years past. And for whatever reason, he just hasn't gotten up there.
Last year, Najee, CEH, those kind of guys went at the 2-3 turn. Najee kind of got there, but I'm not even did Najee outscore Connor? I don't know. It was probably reasonable.
I think it was close. I think one was 6 and one was 7, maybe.
And obviously CEH was dust. But point being, he's the workhorse. As long as he's healthy, he is the workhorse on one of the best offenses in the NFL, and workhorse with goal line, everything. I'm in on Connor. And if it bites me, it bites me. I'm cool. I think his price is going to adjust too. Pretty.
Oh yeah. I have a guy in mind. I want to know if you have the same guy. So who would you be looking at?
Ooh. So I mean, I know I love Kyler here, but Gabe and Sutton are my 2 guys here. I think between. Okay.
I was going Kyler just for that contrary James Conner Kyler stack.
Yep.
And.
Just give us all rushing touchdowns.
Give us all that capital. And like you said, he's going to catch passes. So he might actually be a benefactor of T-Hop being suspended for 6 games.
That's true. That is true.
Their line still sucks. He's not going to have all day to throw.
And Kyler's going to create him enough lanes with just run zone read and let Connor get his 4 yards of carry and march down the field. Connor's a really good receiver. There's very few running backs. I'm a pretty big stickler. I have no idea if it's right or wrong. It could be a terrible idea, but I'm a pretty big stickler for not stacking my quarterback with my running back, but Connor would be one of them where I would be willing to do it. I think the Bills are one where I'm willing to do it. And Arizona where I'm willing to do it. Maybe Miles and Hurts too, where you get the runner, because like you can get a game where it's all rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Kyler throws for 1 and runs for 2, and Connor runs for 2, and maybe he throws the 1 to Connor, right? Like, you know what I mean? So there's only a few spots where I like to do it, and I do think Connor makes sense, and I love Kyler, and I'm gonna buy this dip. I don't give a shit. 6 weeks of DeAndre Hopkins, like it's fine. I think it's totally fine, and Kyler was fine without him. Obviously, his ceiling, I would like for Nuke to be there, but I'm gonna buy this Kyler dip 100%.
Oh, absolutely. And the one thing I will kind of kick back on is not specifically the high rushing quarterbacks. I'll take a running back as long as it's not like crazy value for any of the elite offenses.
Yeah.
Think about the Buccaneers last year.
Lenny Brady. Yep. That was the first one. Yep.
Rojo CEH with Mahomes. Those are the types of that I'm trying to take. Anything that's cheap, I'll add it in. I don't really care.
I think it's we can talk about it before we get past here. For me, Sutton is my highest ranked guy. I also do still like Mooney, but I think those two guys stand out to me.
Let's see. Yeah, it's probably where I lean. I like. What are your thoughts on Juju this year? No, that's pretty much where I lean. I do like Darnell Mooney, but I think Sutton has that chance to be the wide receiver 1 on that offense. So I'd rather take it. And he kind of goes along. We already have Javonte, so Denver, and then in division stack with
and
Devontae.
Division. So. Love the division. I mean, seriously, that's going to be a team in 10 days when we look at the schedule and you're like, if it's Raiders, Broncos, that's going to be one of the last year's Chiefs Bengals where we're like, you have to stack that game. It's fucking Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller with, Russ and Judy and Sutton and Alberto, Javonte. That will be one that we want to get after. So, and absolutely. They play twice a year anyway. So it's not a negative. That's the thing about the division things. It's like, you can't go wrong with the divisional correlation. Like, yes, maybe it doesn't come true in the playoffs, but like they're going to play twice a year. So you're still getting the benefit regardless. It just may not be the max benefit that we're shooting for. On the Juju thing, the Chiefs are so interesting because obviously we have no idea what to do with them. I have Juju pretty high, obviously not higher than Sutton, but like on par. I mentioned Mooney. I think he's fairly on par with Mooney, where Mooney is a fair bit more obvious of the top target on his offense. Yeah, I mean, Mooney was really good last year. Like, I kind of think he's just really good. Juju hasn't been quite so good, but now he gets to play with Patrick Mahomes. The only difference is Kelsey is there, so it's like the volume versus this offense is going to literally score like 1 million more points than the Bears do. And so, Siri is like, what are you? Oh, God damn it. Just did it again. Just literally, I can't say the S word, but I think Juju has the upside like to be a total smash. So I'm not like, it's one of those, I'm going to get my Juju shares. I'm not going to be an idiot and be like, oh, he's overpriced.
Yeah. I think so. One of the things is he's definitely getting pushed down for the year that he had last year, played hurt, but I mean, think about how good he was with Antonio Brown. Like when they schemed him touches, he was a freaking animal, man. My biggest concern is obviously Juju's going to be on the team. Like we know Juju is one of their 3 starters. Like there's no doubt about it. Did you see the tweet? They have like 20 wide receivers currently on their roster.
I know.
So it's figuring out everything. Obviously, MVS is going to be there. Like, what kind of roles are they putting everybody in? Like, I want to say Juju's in the slot role, but how valuable is that actually going to be when Mahomes wants to throw it 35 yards downfield?
And Kelsey is working the intermediate part of the
exactly.
field. So it's not like, again, in a vacuum, the slot role seems great. The slot roll is awesome for like anybody because it's such an easy way to manufacture touches to a guy to get open. It's easy for the quarterback to target. However, it's not as it's easier when CJ Uzoma is your tight end, not really getting open. When it's Travis Kelsey, it's a lot more difficult because Mahomes is going to default to Kelsey in the short to intermediate part of the field. So I think Juju has enough concerns to where if like I'm not going to go crazy on him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is the Chiefs and this is Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not going to go. We're not going to get to September or whatever, and I have like 2%. I would just rather not.
Right. We are on the clock. People I'm looking at, A-Rob. I do like Drake London, but not really.
I do. Okay, I'm trying to look at the ADP. I do love Drake London. I'm cool with A-Rob.
I would also mix in CH to continue that kind of AFC West. So A-Rob or CH?
You can pick.
You're killing me.
I like both.
Yeah, we're taking A-Rob. We ran out of time.
I like this because I don't have a lot of A-Rob yet, but it wasn't by again, it's 3 teams, but it wasn't by choice.
Exactly.
I like A-Rob. So
I love A-Rob. I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic for the Rams. And that's another secondary stack. Arizona. NFC West. We got AFC, NFC West, the 2 divisions that everybody should be wanting to draft crazily.
Those are the two. Those are the two. I mean, if you went into for the next 10 days and you just drafted stacks, like only players from slight exaggeration, but only players from those 2 divisions, I would be like, that's perfect. Because like it's all other than I guess the Seahawks, it's all like shootout potential games. Every game.
There's going to be 6 of them for at least for each team. Like
7 of the 8 teams are awesome offenses. Like not just like, okay, that looks good. That's kind of like what the Niners games were. It was like, yeah, their offense looks good, but they never get in these fucking they never get in an actual shootout.
Yeah.
Like now,
my question is, who are you considering as that 8th team that isn't a great offense?
Seattle.
Oh, right.
I mean, Drew Lock asked Siege. Where's is Siege in the chat? He probably thinks they're good. So you're
Russ. Because I was going to contemplate Russ here.
Are you on Toney still with the trade rumors and the Wandale thing?
I don't really care about it. I think if he's on the Giants, they're going to use him. He reported, so like they're going to use him. I'm in on the Giants in total. And then if he goes somewhere else, they're giving up significant draft capital. So they're going to, I think, again, they're going to use him. Let's take a look. I don't want a tight end.
No.
I could be in on Claypool. Again, I'm still fine on CH. I'm going to put him above Toney for right now.
I think I like CH here.
Okay. Let's go CH. Stay with that AFC West. And I think CH, the hate's gone too far. I've been saying it all offseason. Like, he's not what they expected to be. Like, he's not a first-round pick. But he has been relatively efficient. If he gets better in pass protection, and we know Rojo is not good at pass protection and can't catch passes, like, he's going to be on the field.
If Hayden says for the podcast feed, Hayden is Team CEH because Rojo is on the BBM3 salary list, which he actually posted. We're in goddamn meme category now with this, but players that are going to make less than the person who is winning Best Ball Mania 3, and Rojo is on that list. If CEH were a late second round pick where he like should have gone, late second, early third, something, like no one would say shit. Like we would be fine drafting him in the 8th or 9th round of fantasy drafts. But it's solely because they made the stupid decision to draft him at the end of the first round. So and then like we all love the Chiefs, as we should. So he shot through the roof in fantasy value that year, right? And he had the huge breakout the very first game he smashed. Yep. So like it was just everything went in the way of his value getting so overhyped. And now like you said, we've gone too far. I mean, if I were a betting man, yeah, I would bet he splits with Rojo and he probably sucks again because he's not very good at football. But but at this range, who are you taking that you feel better about than him? There's not really that many guys. So I think he's a pretty good bet this year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. He's nothing terrible. Like he's not a bad running back.
Yeah, it's not like he's awful.
He's efficient. Like he averages 4 yards a carry. I would love to see them use him in the passing game. They really haven't. But if he manages to get better at pass protection and they use him in the pass game, he's going to be an absolute smash.
Yep.
You want parts of that offense. I don't care that he's burnt us 2 years in a row. Like, yeah, he wasn't worth the 8th overall pick, and he wasn't worth the 24th overall pick. Is he worth the 88th overall pick? Probably.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, Cooper Kupp just put up a historic wide receiver season. For 2 years before, he was like, if you drafted Cooper Kupp, were you happy?
I got him off the waiver wire.
Yeah, not really. Didn't he also like score like 0 touchdowns when he hasn't
a 4th round pick that nobody really knew. He wasn't talked about. He was okay in college, didn't really produce, and then he just absolutely blossomed last year.
Obviously, it's a little different circumstance. He's a wide receiver. I feel confident. We knew he was pretty good at the game, and now he got Matthew Stafford. But the point is, sometimes this shit just comes out of nowhere. No one, like I drafted quite a bit of Cooper Kupp, but like, did I expect a legendary wide receiver season? No, of course not. Derek Carr.
Yeah, I was about to say that because we're on the clock. Derek Carr, I'm going to put in here. I'm also in on Gage. I could get talked into Galladay. I think we can wait on another guy.
I think Carr because there's a lot of wide receivers here.
Yep. I think we're done at quarterback now.
This is sexy. This is nice.
So for the podcast feed, I'll go through this way.
Yeah.
After 9 rounds, we have Devontae Adams, Javonte Williams, Jalen Waddle, James Conner, Kyler Murray, Cortland Sutton, Allen Robinson, CEH, and Derek Carr.
That's nice.
We're going heavy AFC and NFC West.
Carr thing just worked out perfect, man. When you get Devontae and then Carr just like falling in your lap a little bit after ADP, that's nice.
Let's see. Still nothing for tight ends.
Yeah, we're good at running back right here in this tier, I think, right? With
we have 3 with Javonte, Conner, and CH. I think we can hold off, even though I love Miles Sanders.
Oh man,
he doesn't really. We're kind of weak at wide receiver.
Yeah.
As much as they'll probably take that step forward, I think we definitely need someone to kind of hold down the fort.
God, he's in
the same category as CH. Like they're going relative.
He might be better. He's in the same category, except he might be better than CH because he averages more than 5 yards a carry.
He just doesn't score touchdowns, and he's never scoring another
touchdown. CH doesn't fucking score touchdowns either. It's just you didn't
hear. Miles Sanders is never scoring another touchdown.
Never, yeah. Yeah, that's what somebody said in one of the replies today in one of the Twitter threads I was on. That was like, the only thing we've learned is that you can't win by drafting Miles Sanders. And I was like, you've triggered me to all-time levels because I've drafted him on every team so far. Sanders, Gage, Galladay.
All right, we are on the clock.
Sanders, Gage, Galladay are my top 3 guys. I like all of them I think drafting Sanders here is totally fine. But I do like Gage and Galladay both.
Let's see. Yeah, let's do it. We're going to be done at quarterback and running back. We're going to take Miles Sanders.
So
my connection is absolutely terrible right now.
I was going to let you make the decision because what I was going to say is we can stick to 4 running backs now. And that gives us a lot of outs to wide receiver, because we're not like, I mean, we have fucking Devontae Adams. We're not like totally lacking at wide receiver. So I think this gives us some pretty nice outs, but we just stick to the four running backs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, with this group, we could easily have 2 RB1s and 2 RB2s.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably with this group getting 2 running backs and a flex almost every week. And we can try and push it a little bit with our wide receivers, play for a little bit more upside. Mm-hmm. And there's some guys that will definitely come into play.
Oh yeah. That's the other thing. We talked about it obviously for a long time at the top, but there's just so much kind of craziness and variance with where some of these younger wide receivers are going, or even not just the young guys, but these late round wide receivers, where sometimes this unexpected upside just falls into your lap. I mean, I showed the team that Sky Moore got in the 18th round. I'm not expecting that in this draft, but you never know who is there, right? I talked about Alec Pierce. That's one of my guys. I think he has a ton of upside as an 18th round pick, and he's not going to be an 18th round pick in a month or 2 months or whatever. So, but using that to your advantage, right? Like in any specific draft, use that to your advantage.
I don't know if you can hear me. I sent you something in private chat. I'm going to quickly swap Wi-Fi's in case, just because this one's going bad. So
go ahead. We're gonna have some fun without Silas.
Should be quick. I don't think I dropped off, so we're actually good.
You didn't drop out. We're good. Can you hear me?
I can. And hey, now you're not like much better.
Yeah, that's good.
I was actually so I just saw MVS went. I was hoping MVS would fall because I think he's perfect for this technical.
And he is another perfect example. I think his listed ADP is like 180.
Yep.
And same thing. So like I've been trying to like queue up all those guys. MVS is absolutely in that bucket. That like I have like 60 to 100 picks higher than what their listed ADP is. And just have them readily available. Obviously, we're streaming, so it's a little bit different.
Yep. But that's why I haven't.
When you're drafting on the shitter or something like that, you pull.
Absolutely.
There, you have like those 20 guys or 30 guys or whatever. You just put them in there, so you're always like thinking about. The rookies are the biggest example, but MVS is also in that bucket. That like he's like a 9th round pick, and his listed ADP is 180. So
yeah, no, he's an absolute smash. And like you said, if we weren't streaming, I would have had all of these guys already in our queue. But just because I don't want to give anybody additional plus EV, seeing as I don't have any Wi-Fi and my clock's stuck at 6 seconds, so I can't give them any additional. Can't let them know exactly who we're looking at, which is exactly why I'm like, I have a guy in mind, but like I don't want to say anything yet. And I'm sure we're only going to tilt. We're going to start tilting very soon.
Oh yeah. All right. So we're done at running back. We're done at quarterback. That's nice. Yeah. That makes this easier. I'm cool with Lazard.
I think I prefer Higbee here.
Yeah, I like Higbee.
Let's see who else is available here, though. I like that guy, but I could get on board with Chark.
Yeah, I'm cool with Chark.
Chark or Higbee? Who do you prefer?
I'm on Chark actually over Higbee. I'm kind of on. I'm interested in your take on the Lions. I'm kind of on the Lions.
I am most definitely in on the Lions.
I somehow got cornered into this on draft night. I don't know if I created this world for myself or I talked myself into it or what. But on draft night, between both the ship chasing and the underdog streams, I end up talking about the freaking Lions, probably because they drafted Jameson Williams, who is my guy. But I don't know, man. I think that last year, I think we went too far trusting. I was somewhat off the Lions, where we went too far trusting TJ Hawkinson as a 5th, 6th round pick, DeAndre Swift as a 3rd round pick, Brashad Perriman, Tyrell, with all the uncertainty with Jared Goff at quarterback. We went too far trusting the Lions, and I think we've gone too far the opposite way this year, where Goff, like, I think he stinks, but between him and the way that they play and the way that they're willing to continue to play for wins, right? Like, get to the 4th quarter, if they're down by 14 or 21, they're onside kicking. They're going no huddle, right? The Falcons are content to run out the clock. The Jets are content to run out the clock. And those little things matter for fantasy. And so I think Goff with Chark, Hawk, Swift, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think that the offense can be pretty good and the defense is going to stink again. So I'm in on pretty much all of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely in on the Lions. I think, definitely went too far in trusting everybody because we thought it was projectable volume, whereas the team itself stunk.
Yep.
And we basically made everybody a sunk cost because, thanks, Leone, we had Brashad Perriman in the 150s. We had Tyrell Williams in the 170s. Like, we just expected them to be 1 and 2. I'm going to say Higbee here just to continue that NFC West kind of connection. Kind of partners with Allen Robinson as well.
I love
Again, goes against potentially we could have Kyler, Connor, Allen Robinson, and Tyler Higbee all going together. Higbee.
Also love, even if you don't get those right, the secondary stacks, people don't ever. I think that's one of the things that's a huge edge. Huge is relative, but like if you're deciding between the second tight end and you have another Ram, take the Ram. Don't take the one-off tight end because it's just one less thing you have to get right. In a thing we're creating a impossible parlay for us to hit. That's what these teams are. Just make it easier on yourself, on the team, and you faded Cooper Kupp, right? So you took Allen Robinson and you took Tyler Higbee on this team. If Cooper Kupp goes down, Yahtzee for both of them.
Yeah.
So like obviously no one's projecting that, but just set yourself up over all of your teams. Like
absolutely.
I might like Irv Smith better than Tyler Higbee, but I'm not taking Irv Smith on this team. I'm taking Tyler Higbee on this team.
Yeah. And that's kind of another case in point. I mean, I definitely do like Irv Smith in a vacuum more so than Tyler Higbee. Like, Irv Smith can carve out, because it's such a condensed offense, a higher percent portion of the offense. But he does nothing in terms of this team, right? We're particularly looking for AFC West, NFC West correlations to make it so that if one of those games goes absolutely buck wild, we probably have multiple pieces from that game, which easily helps our advance rate moving forward.
With the contingent value of, like, look, no one's rooting for Cooper Kupp to get hurt.
Exactly.
But if it happens, maximize your upside when that happens. Like, it's not like we didn't want Cooper Kupp on this team, but it's not a fucking auction draft. We didn't get him.
We didn't get a top 3 pick.
Yeah, we didn't get him. So that's fine. So what happens when the scenario plays out for you to draft his teammates? Just do it, and you get added extra upside. And over the next 10 years, hope that scenario hits for you once.
Yep.
Okay. So
we're on the clock. My top guy is DPJ.
Ooh, I like DPJ.
Just for that home run hitter type, because I want to stay away from Van Jefferson here.
Yep.
I could get in on Robbie Anderson. I don't think Jahan Dotson's going to do that much this year. I'd rather not take a projected 0 with Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
No. And I don't really see anyone else that really spikes my interest.
I'm cool.
So that one I was lock buttoning.
Brown Browns are pretty interesting. They are all pretty cheap because there's a lot of, just like everywhere else in the league, there's a lot of uncertainty around them, and we don't know what's happening with Watson, even more so than just their role uncertainty. But why can't DPJ be fuller with Watson? And I mean, would you be surprised if the NFL didn't suspend Watson? I don't know. It makes me sick to my stomach, but I wouldn't be surprised.
So I think it's going to happen. It could be one of those BS like 4-game suspensions. It could be 6 games. He's technically innocent right now. I mean, I'm not saying this is legal issues, everything aside. Legally, he is technically innocent right now.
Yeah.
So how does the NFL view that? I mean, in the past, whether it's been a negative, they'll take it and they'll slap a 2 to 4 to 6 game suspension on you. So that's probably incoming. But also, they have a decent backup in Jacoby Brissett who can play.
Yep.
I like DPJ, right? If Watson gets 4 to 6 games, there's there's 100% chance that DPJ is going to catch at least one pass that's over 80 yards this year.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind about that. This is an interesting pick.
The tight ends are nice here. I'm trying to look at the wide receivers.
I could be in on Toney.
So I like Irv, but Tonyan is higher for me.
Okay. Let's do that. Just
we cannot fucking draft Marvin Jones. Leone. Come on. Jesus.
I don't hate Marvin Jones.
Stop it.
He's fine. He's fine. He just, with what we have, he doesn't add anything, right?
Yeah.
If you're going robust running back where you have 4 straight running back picks, right? 3 or 4 straight running back picks in the first 5-6 rounds. Marvin Jones is fine. There's going to be weeks he scores you 14 points, and that's exactly what you need.
And
so he's fine.
It makes me so sick to see this on the ring. But I agree. He fits. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be on the field.
Almost a guarantee. And I think Trevor Lawrence
Sammy Watkins,
forward,
Marvin Jones, and Sammy Watkins and Odell with a
we can't take Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is on the salary list. He's on the salary list. I can't make more than Sammy Watkins this year.
Yeah. Oh my God. I like these tight ends though. We talked a little bit about this. It's a kind of a perfect time to talk about these tight ends. Think about where Tyler Higbee went last year, where Robert Tonyan went last year, where Irv Smith went last year. Hunter Henry obviously is going maybe a little bit higher, but kind of in the general same area where he went last year. Evan Ingram is cheaper than where he went last year in probably a better spot, and maybe that's debatable. There's other guys, right? You talked about, I think you were the one that mentioned Hayden Hurst, who is now basically just – how can he do worse than what CJ Uzomah did last year? Like, he's at least as good as CJ Uzomah. So, let's just say he does that. You have a top, I think he was CJ Uzomah was a top 17 tight end. It's okay. You have a close to a tight end 1 in one of the last rounds. I like Brevin Jordan. They lost Jordan Akins, and the only thing they added in the passing game really was a wide receiver who has a torn ACL, John Mechie. So, I don't know. There's a lot of guys. Cameron Brate, who knows if Gronk is going to come back? There's a ton.
I like Austin
Hooper. Yeah. Who the hell is Tennessee going to throw the ball to? I mean, we all like Treylon Burks, but he's a rookie. There's a lot of really fun, I think, late round tight ends, even getting further. I like both of the Colts guys. I'm not going to give up my Kylan Granson love, even though it pretty much got sunk by Jelani Woods. But if you like Jelani Woods, Jonnu, bounce back. Jonnu was what, a 13th or a 14th round pick last year, and
I want to say he was going around 120.
He's not even gonna get picked in any of these drafts. So just take your handful of Jonnu teams, and you're way over the field. So I kind of think it's a fun late round tight end year.
I'll even probably sprinkle in, and I know I was doing this mostly in 20 round teams, but what if they drafted OJ Howard to use him?
Yeah, he's on my list. He's on my list. I think he's like 33 or something like that. So like it's just a sprinkle. But dude, OJ Howard is a former first round pick who, yes, I know he didn't live up to the hype with the Bucks, but I mean that talent on that offense, maybe he just takes the job from Knox. I'm not saying that. It's not out of the range of outcomes. And
we're on the clock, so we got 28 seconds before. This is an interesting one. So I really like Odell. And I've been on Odell, but I want to hear what your thoughts are on Odell before I click him.
I prefer Robbie.
Okay.
But I think I get the Odell thing. I prefer Robbie, but I'll let you kind of make this pick, and then we can kind of talk through the.
No, we'll take Robbie because there's a chance that he obviously gets traded. There's a chance that he's with them, and if let's hope Corral takes the job because I'm tired of freaking Darnold. But yeah, so
it's multiple paths. Robbie has multiple paths to. He could get cut. He could get traded.
Yeah.
And in which case, someone is going to he could end up on the freaking Chiefs if he gets cut. Obviously, I don't know what that probability is, but it's there. That exists. He could stay there, which is not great, but he was going. What round was Robbie going last year? In this exact same spot without Corral as the backup to Darnold, and that it didn't work out from a results perspective, but how many weeks was he on the air yards by low model? He
was redacted.
Yeah, exactly. I think the upside still exists in Carolina, and I think the outside of Carolina are huge. So I'm still in on him. Did somebody take Odell? That's hilarious.
Someone just took Odell, which kind of sucks. But
did I see David Bell? Did I see David Bell on this list? That was one of my guys.
No, he's gone. Long gone. KJ Hamler.
Oh,
Byron Pringle. I'm still in on James Washington.
I'm cool.
We got auto drafted. Okay. This is why this is the pain of not getting to see the clock.
Yeah. I kind of like Khalil Herbert. Obviously, he doesn't fit this structure, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
He's past
20
ADP.
picks after ADP or whatever.
But yeah, so the upside of Odell, and specifically for this build, right? Chances are he's not going to be ready to start the season. However, he's probably going to an elite team, which is going to showcase him as soon as he's drafted or as soon as he's ready. Best case scenario, he probably won't be on PUP, but say he misses the first 3-4 weeks. Would you prefer to have 13-ish games of potentially wide receiver 1 Odell Beckham over who would we have grabbed? Cedric Wilson. Wide receiver 3, James Washington or Cedric Wilson. Or Robbie Anderson aside, right? We picked Robbie Anderson. But Odell has the option to choose one of these elite offenses. What would you put the odds of him signing in Green Bay at? What are the odds he signs in Baltimore and he becomes the wide receiver 1 over Rashad Bateman? What are the odds he goes, hell, I want to sign with the Chiefs and he's Patrick Mahomes as wide receiver 1? He doesn't have to take a lot of money for the amount that he's already made in his career. He's solely ring chasing right now. He knows he can get paid at any given point, but he's going to go to a team that knows they're going to use him. So that's why I have been in on Odell this year. And I've been drafting him, even though he's probably missing, first 5-6 weeks. He's discount default.
I like his if his ADP keeps falling into this range. He was going higher than this, if I remember.
He was.
He was. And so that was a little bit people were making very big assumptions about kind of everything you outlined. A, when he was going to come back, and B, that he was going to land in a spot that was good. But now you get 16th, 17th round. It's like you said, I mean, I don't give a shit about the first 3 weeks or whatever. Like, none of these guys are going to give me anything in the first 3 weeks. 3 weeks anyway. But
Yep.
I care about the upside, and so it's a little more of a conversation between him and probably some of the rookies. I think is like, he's clearly better at football right now than the rookies at full health. But from the upside perspective, you start comparing him to the rookies. So I think given the fact that we auto picked a running back, we probably want to. Who are our tight ends again?
Higbee and Tonyan. So
I think we probably want to, for sure, 17th round, we want to go wide receiver.
Yeah. I just had them in there just in case.
We might want to double dip. Are any of the rookie wide receivers available? I'm trying to think. Sky Moore, I'm sure, is gone. Christian Watson, Alec Pierce.
Alec is still there. I know that. Who else doesn't have an ADP?
I'm thinking. Tolbert.
He's gone.
Damn. Hold on. Scrolling the ranks.
What happens when you draft with streamers? People actually know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, what the hell?
Tylen Wallace.
Mechie? Is Mechie?
Mechie's gone. I know that. Yeah.
And like fucking Pickens has an ADP, which is really
Pickens is like 150.
Yeah,
he's gone.
So stupid. That's so stupid.
He went to Alejandro. Or no, maybe Baby Steve.
I don't know if we want Wandale, but he's about the last on my list.
Or we were discussing Tone. Oh, we're on the clock.
Are we on the clock?
We are. I'm gonna put him in just in case.
I actually like Pringle.
Pringle or Pierce?
I prefer Pierce, but Pringle and Pierce are both good.
We got Alec Pierce.
I mean, the crazy thing about Pringle is like we can hate on him all we want, and we can hate on the Bears all we want, but like we were willing to draft Brashad Perriman higher than this last year.
I have nothing wrong with Byron Pringle.
Like Pringle is like this is actually like Perriman got cut. Pringle is not getting cut. Pringle is the wide receiver too, like on this offense. Like that is like a fact. So
the only downside would be that DUI that just came out. So are they quick enough to suspend him? Which usually it happens the year after. So that's.
I know he got arrested, but like,
and then I'm gonna say we draft him in the 18th round because
I like
why
it. Not? I like it.
So, yeah, last few picks obviously going through for those on the podcast feed. Team: Devontae Adams, Javonte Williams, Jalen Waddle, James Conner, Kyler Murray, Cortland Sutton, Allen Robinson, CEH, Derek Carr, Miles Sanders, DJ Chark, Tyler Higbee, DPJ, Robert Tonyan, Robbie Anderson, Khalil Herbert, Alec Pierce, and Byron Pringle.
It's a nice mix, I think, of archetypes at wide receiver, right? Like you have your Devontae. We
have our studs, and then we're just kind of hoping we're picking and choosing those spike weeks.
Yep. Obviously A-Rob's a little bit different, but between Chark, DPJ, Robbie Anderson, Pierce, that's all like spike week type players. And sometimes you just never know you go into the year like, oh, this guy's just a boomer bust weekly type player. But like, who's to say that DPJ doesn't just smash with Deshaun Watson? Like, we don't know. Who's to say that Alec Pierce isn't just really good at football in a place with no target competition? So I like that kind of mix that we put together there.
Yeah, the only downside was obviously the Khalil Herbert auto pick.
Sorry,
it is what it is. Would have preferred either a third tight end, just kind of based on the build with the fact that we got two later guys.
I think a third tight end would fit better, but that's okay.
We're gonna go to the drafts. I know Rob asked me to roast him, so I'm gonna try to roast him.
Rob wants to get roasted. Rob posted a team in the Discord to get roasted earlier today, and it was awful. It was a really bad team. So I can't wait to see what his team looks like here. He took Patrick Mahomes at the beginning of the third round. He took Zeke. He took Josh Jacobs. It was bad. So
Coakley starts Jefferson, AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin. We talked about AJ Brown a little bit earlier. I think, so talked about AJ Brown a little bit earlier. I think we're drafting him at a ceiling. Can't really fault any of the other three guys. I think Terry McLaurin's a good pick.
Keenan? I'm not in on Keenan at this cost. Why is Keenan worth a third round pick as an aging wide receiver?
True.
As an absolutely aging wide receiver who didn't really produce to this level last year, and we're just like signing up to take him again. Mike Williams like basically outproduced him when they were on the field together. I know they didn't necessarily add anyone. Josh Palmer is there as a younger wide receiver. Why is Keenan Allen not being drafted at his ceiling? How does Keenan Allen exceed this draft cost? I'm not saying he can't like be okay, but how are you like, oh man, yes, I got Keenan Allen in the third round?
Yeah, I always just kind of glance over him. I'm like, oh yeah, you got Keenan Allen, it's fine. Like he's never.
I have Mike Williams. Hold on. Mike Williams is my wide receiver 13, and Keenan Allen is my wide receiver 26. Okay. So, if that's a hot take, that's totally fine. But Keenan Allen is in the Darnell Mooney, Terry McLaurin range, and Mike Williams is in the he was in the DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Pittman, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle range.
Yeah, still is. This is the Pittman, Jeudy, Cooper range with Michael Williams. But obviously, we're kind of a little wide receiver heavy in this draft. Yeah. Rob continues by taking the olds, which is Ezekiel Elliott. Didn't you hear that it's Tony Pollard season? Jesus. It's only been Tony Pollard season for the last 2 years. He does take Goddard and stacks him with Hurts, which is great. Jameson Williams at 91 in the 8th round. He's missing 6 games. Come on now. Come on.
There's no bigger Jameson Williams fan on the planet than me, and you cannot take him it's going to be low. It's going to be much lower. His ADP is going to be much lower. Take him later.
I will actually disagree and say that I am the biggest Jameson Williams. I've been saying he's the wide receiver 1 in the class literally since January, and nobody believed me. Like I have literally been saying I love Jameson Williams. The fact that they said he's missing 6 games, like you can't draft him anywhere earlier than the 11th round.
You can take him. Yeah, you can take him later. Take him in July or something. His cost will be totally fine.
Yeah. Obviously, right now, ADP wise, and then rookie grace. Ramondre fine. Russell Gage fine. Nothing's great.
We're not allowed to say that we're the biggest Jameson Williams fan if Rob's taking him at ADP, which his ADP is like higher than like Jerry Jeudy's.
Well, that just means you have to have 100% Jameson Williams then, Rob. Yeah. That's how it goes. You continue with the olds with Ronald Jones and Raheem Mostert. Isaiah Spiller might not even play this year. Just the fact that he might not actually get on the field behind Eckler. John took Mechie, Cedric Wilson. Why are you taking the wide receiver 3 on Miami? Why? Dearness Johnson and then Carson Wentz.
He does love Dearness. I like Dearness, and he had like 3 or 4 picks I like.
Yeah, he's now the RB4 in Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, there's a couple picks in there that I like. But this was a lot of fun. I hope everybody has had a wonderful first day of BBM. If you are still hanging with us for moving forward purposes, we're streaming every single day here on Spike Week, and Silas and I are going to do Monday nights at this time every single Monday moving forward, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, drafting teams. It'll probably be BBM for a little while. I'm sure when they start dropping puppies or super flex or who knows what's coming this summer, we'll dive into all of that. But Monday nights we will be drafting, and then every single other day this week will be kind of different show. You can check it out on spikeweek.com and find the schedule for shows. Again, more housekeeping. I'm working on finishing up these rankings. Shout out to Adam Schefter for screwing it up for DeAndre Hopkins, technically, for screwing it up for all of us with that. But also thanks for sticking in for a little bit of an extended first show, but it was a lot of fun. Silas, anything else to wrap up? Anything you want to push? Anything you're excited about? Anything you realize from the show that has changed your mind?
No, just appreciate people sticking with us. Obviously, the intro went a lot longer than we expected. When we get together, we typically just talk strategy and kind of get lost. So, expect that kind of throughout the rest of the off season. But yeah, just really excited for BBM. Excited to try and max this, and hopefully, someone in our Discord actually wins $2 million and $1 million. But yeah, join the Discord, join us, follow me on Twitter if you feel necessary. I have terrible takes, and try and do a lot of trolling. But yeah, no, looking forward to it. Feel free to get in some Twitter fights with me.
100%. And I will catch you guys tomorrow, and we will definitely catch you guys next week.